My name's Adrian Ringrose, architect and conservation architect at Stimson Walton Bond Architects in Northampton. I've been appointed to act as architect to find ways in which the important naturalist colony of bats in the church can be accommodated along with the church community. Well, the church is a Grade 1 listed building, and it's been developed through the 12th, 13th and 14th centuries and into the 19th century as well with the restoration of the chancel. The earliest part of the church is really at the tower and the nave, and it's clear to see where the old roof profile against the tower can be seen. And then in the 14th century, the roof was raised and the south aisle was added with the nave arcade. The chancel was originally 13th century. It was part of a Victorian restoration in the 19th century. And you can see that the walls have been plastered. And in particular, you'll see the difference in the profile of the roof structure. The earlier roof structure in the nave is much flatter, and the beams are much older. And you can see that the faceted profile of the scissor-type roof is typically Victorian of that period. Well, I think there are sort of 300, 350 naturalists in the building. It's very important sort of maternity colony here. And when I first came to the church, everything was covered in plastic, and the feces and the staining everywhere was phenomenal. I hadn't seen anything like it before. So Chris had come up with some initial ideas about how we could contain the bats in certain areas of the church without them coming into the main body of the church. So it's essentially finding voids for them to live in, really. If we look at the chancel ceiling, it's a typical scissor rafter type arrangement, but there are voids at each level. There's a sloping section, then there's a big void at the upper level. The bats are actually coming in this left corner over here, and you can probably just about see there's some equipment there that Chris has put up so it can detect how many bats are coming in and coming out. So that's the main point of entry. So what we're going to do is to put a lining between the vertical timbers, the sloping, up to the scissor area. Not underlining it, so you end up with just a flat ceiling, but cutting boards between the rafters. So we create the voids at the eaves, create a void between the rafters and then up into the upper space. The other area is bats come into the tower as well. So what we're looking to do is to seal the floor between the ground floor of the tower and the upper floor. That was originally a fibreboard ceiling, which we've taken out, and we're going to put an oak ceiling in and then create an enclosed upper area which is separate from this ground floor area. So works we're doing to the bell stage openings, which will allow bats to find their way into the tower, but they will then be contained in the upper section, while the lower section, in conjunction with the rest of the nave and the chancel, will be able to be used by the sort of church community. And that's the kind of principle. It's really about creating an area for the community, an area for the congregation, and keeping the bats at a level where they're going to thrive and won't have a detrimental impact on them.